Welcome back to the Star Wars Exchange, here to review Maul episodes 5 and 6, Inquisition and Night of the Hunted. Two awesome episodes. This series is seriously heating up. It's been an absolute joy to watch. Mike, give me your first thoughts of episodes 5 and 6 of Maul Shadow Lord.
5, 6. Oh, wait, that's not what the saying is.
This bloke has spent too much time in the classroom with kids doing 6, 7s and whatever.
100%, this is true.
I almost want to restart after you just did that, I'm going to be honest.
No, it would be our 5th restart of the night. I don't want to. Dude, the episodes were amazing. They were amazing. It was good. It was what we've been kind of waiting for. People have been complaining that it's been a slow churn, or Maul hasn't really been at the forefront. And he was not so much in all the action in these two episodes, but he's like the most important part of the show, right? He's the reason why all this action is even happening in the first place.
I was about to say, yeah, I heard someone talking about this earlier, but it's like, yeah, we don't see a lot of him, but anything that happens, Maul is responsible. The fact that the Empire is on Janix, the fact that this hunt even began at all. So,
right.
It's interesting to think about.
I don't like when people are like, "Oh, he was really in the shadows because he's not in the forefront," and I'm like, funny joke. But I mean, genuinely, nothing of this would be happening if it wasn't for Maul. So Maul is at the centerpiece here. Yeah, again, these episodes
were not like
great.
The Book of Boba Fett, where it's just like, now let's just do an episode about, I don't know, Count Dooku.
Right. I mean, that's genuinely what we got. So no, exactly. This is not The Book of Boba Fett, which I'm sure some people are rewatching right now in hype for the Mandalorian movie, or lack of. But
first episodes of that show, bangers.
Yeah, right. It's a shout out Book of Boba Fett, but I mean, these two episodes, I mean, it's what we've been waiting for. It's kind of like the action we've seen in all the trailers. So things are heating up here on Janix, and the Inquisitors are back. Like, I felt like the concept of the Inquisitors I loved in Rebels. I love the concept of them. But then when the evolution was, the Grand Inquisitor the Inquisitor in season 1 of Rebels turned out to be the Grand Inquisitor, and there's more of them. It was a slowly unraveling of lore for us of the story. The story was being developed for the Inquisitors. But when we got to season 2 of Rebels, it was just like, these are just Scooby-Doo villains. Like, it literally felt like they just pulled them from like some long lost Scooby-Doo episodes. I mean, and I end up liking the 5th brother in Rebels a lot, and same with 7th sister, but they were just goofy
almost
villains.
Thought Marek in this episode was going to jump off a cliff with the helicopter lightsaber.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, that would have been a huge tonal shift in the show if he hadn't done that.
Right. But in the Jedi games with Cal Kestis, the Inquisitors are scary. Like, they're frightening. Like, it's like every time they appear on screen, you're like, damn, this is going to be a fight. I don't know if even besides that, you have to fight them in the game, and they're tough battles, but like the way they're presented, it's like this big entity. It's almost like Vader's walking onto the screen. So I felt like these two episodes did that. I was genuinely scared of the Inquisitor, and I got that kind of eerie feeling I did when I first watched Rebels season 1 with the introduction of the Inquisitor. Well, later turned out to be the Grand Inquisitor. So again, these episodes were cooking, and I'm glad. One of my complaints, I think, for Ahsoka was not just Ahsoka, but I think Ari, if we go back and we run back the tape for Tales of the Empire, I was complaining about how the Inquisitors are just not, or even Obi-Wan. I'm like, Inquisitors aren't even scary anymore. Make them scary again.
Don't remind me.
Make them scary again. They were just odd, and
I mean, I didn't mind Reva in Obi-Wan, but
no,
the 5th brother was like genuine. Talk about
Reva.
Like, gee,
it was like Shark Boy and Lava Girl type acting. It was like Reva. Yeah, I don't know. So, anyways, so again, shout out to Maul Shadow Lord, because they did the Inquisitors justice again, and I was genuinely frightened. I was frightened of the first brother, Marek. I was generally frightened of him. But what did you think of these two episodes? What you think of the Inquisitor stuff, which I'm sure we'll get into later, but I just want to talk about it at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I mean, I loved these episodes. I thought, I agree with what you said about the Inquisitors. That was one of my, it's Marek, right? That's the name
Yeah.
of the Inquisitor. Yeah, some of my favorite sort of rendition of an Inquisitor that we've seen sort of in Star Wars ever. I thought that was awesome. And I got to say, Iko Dio Daki, Master Daki, is becoming a genuine favorite character of mine. He is so cool. And I know that his fate seems like it's sort of already sealed, and what's going to happen is going to happen to him. But I just got to say that what a standout character. And when they announced this show, I thought, okay, like I really like the idea, but how can we kind of tell a message with the show with the main character is, Darth Maul, who's like this horrible person and whatnot. But I'm loving what they're doing with all the side characters. Every episode, I'm just more and more invested. I'm genuinely so invested in these characters, whether it's Devin, Darky, Lawson's son. I'm just like, yeah, loving all of them. So it's been an awesome start. And all I'm saying is, Darky, come on, you can keep going. He can make it through this series. At least I'm praying. I don't think he can, but I would love if he did. But no, fantastic 2 episodes.
I didn't mean to raise my hands in disagreement with you, but oh my god, guys, he did that without a run sheet in front of his face, I think. Unless he's
what the naming of the characters.
The naming of the characters.
I didn't quite get there with Lawson's son though. Well, I think it's on the
Riley.
tip of my tongue. Riley, that's the one.
Oh no, he was looking down at that sheet. No, but yeah,
I was looking at Darky, but not Lawson and
Darky. Dookie Diki Darky. Yeah, something like that.
I know Darky, but the full Iko Dio Darky, I needed to read that.
Oh my gosh, why can't they just give a simple name sometimes?
This is Star Wars, mate.
Iko Diko Dik Darky, I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. And yeah, like you said, I think his fate is sealed. But I mean, yeah, he's just been a standout character, and I just love the way he carries himself and the way he's very forthcoming to Lawson. And I didn't get to mention this on last week's episode, but I love the way when Lawson, they were, Maul ended up running away, but he ran into Master Dookie Daki and Devin, and it totally reminded me of a scene from one of the Batman shows when Commissioner Gordon is outrun by Joker or somebody, and then he just runs into Batman, and then the rest of the police force comes, and he's like, all right, go slip out of here before they come. So I love that they carried on that moment into these episodes when they show up at his apartment. Fantastic 2 episodes. It feels like there's only going to be 2 more. But there's 4 more, correct? There's still 2 more weeks of Maul Shadow Lord, Maul Mondays. Yeah. So right now it feels like the finale's coming up next week, but we still got 4 more episodes, so I'm keen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And God, I'm so glad that we're getting a second season of this show, because if it wasn't for that, I would be more questioning sort of like, why is Maul barely in the show and stuff like that. But
yes.
And the fact that, it felt like going in, the show was sort of going to be centered around Devin sort of turning to the dark side and joining Maul. And it's like, we're up to episode 6 and that still hasn't happened yet. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm kind of predicting I think I said this on our first review, but, this first season is going to sort of be like Rebels season 1, very self-contained in Janix and, focusing on those main characters. Then season 2, the galaxy will probably open right up. I imagine Lawson will still be around. Devin will have probably joined Maul by that point. Darky probably killed by an Inquisitor or something, because I feel like if Maul kills Darky, then Devin probably won't go with Maul.
Right.
But very interested to see how all that's going to happen. But I mean, let's go through the episodes a bit more. Let's start with Inquisition, because this one was a bit less action heavy, a bit more of a setup for the action that came in the next episode. And I just got to say again, before we dive right in, the action in this show is genuinely fantastic. There is some action in maybe not necessarily Star Wars, but just in pop culture lately, where it just is like CGI kind of just throwing stuff, crazy things going on everywhere, and there's not much substance to it. But I was really riding the emotions of these two episodes, like, oh no, like, hoping that people didn't get hurt and this happened. And then, by the end of it, I was cheering for Maul because I, wanted to get the Inquisitor. So just shout out to the action in this series, but we'll talk more about that when we get to episode 6. So with episode 5, it's really the start of it is all about the Lawson and sort of the chief, police officer getting interrogated by Marek. I'm just going to throw to you, Mike. This was a pretty intimidating scene. Again, that the way they're portraying the Inquisitors in these shows. How did you feel about that whole sort of interrogation start to that episode?
Yeah, creepy AF. Because the way his commanding officer Kleiss was brought in, and she was just very headstrong. I was like, oh, that's not going to mesh well. But to be honest with you, I thought she was just being interrogated by the officer or something. I totally forgot about that shot in the trailer where Mara comes out of the shadows in an interview room, like the way they were. So when finally Lawson gets interrogated, I should say, when they show the scratch marks on the table, I was like, ooh, this is not going to go well. And there's some line they said about her being transferred permanently. And I was like, oh yeah, she's dead.
That's like when your parent says the dog has gone to the farm to live a better life. That's sort of what that felt like.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. No, for real. I've never been told that, but I just thought that's so sad. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so when he's being interrogated, well, when Lawson walks in there and there's a hologram of Maul, and I love the shadowy effect they had on us about what happened to Kleiss, because it's like, okay, well Lawson's next, what's gonna happen? And as soon as the door opens, it's just a hologram of Maul, and it's like, wait, is Maul talking? Is Maul gonna talk to him? Like, what's what evidence do they have here? And then there goes Marek appearing out of the shadow, and I'm like, oh. Like, it's great to be scared of an Inquisitor again. It really is. But yeah, that scene, I love the way the scene went down, and it just left off with Lawson or with Marek saying, you're going to tell me everything. So, and I'm like, yeah, Lawson's going to 100% comply. But I just got to say, the whole overtaking of the Empire, of Janix, of the police force and everything. I mean, it was pretty, I don't want to say depressing, but it was gripping, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, wow, you got all angles of the Empire taking over, and it was in a I don't want to sound sadistic, but like in a sadistic way, it was pretty cool to see. I mean, the way the Star Destroyer was coming in, and it just carried off right from the last episode. And oh my god, the presence of all the gunships. I mean, it was just overwhelming. It was just like when there's military force in an area, there's military action, you hear nothing but helicopters patrolling the areas. And that's exactly what the gunships were serving. I mean, gunships here and there, like, vroom, vroom,
yeah, there was even a little detail when one of the ships flew past Lawson's house, and the cutlery was sort of clanking a bit. I was like, wow, that's just like the tiny little details that
exactly
just make it feel that much more lived in.
And this is more like a little nerd thing that I picked up, but I realized that the gunships in Clone Wars sound very different in the earlier seasons and even season 5 than they do in Siege of Mandalore. I felt like in Siege of Mandalore, they leaned the gunship sounds off like the original Clone Wars series and the Attack of the Clones. So they have more like a throttle to them, almost like a turbulence sound, if that makes sense. And so they sound that much louder. So I love that they carried that on here. So I don't know. I think it's just something that I picked up that I'm like, wow, the gunships. I mean, go back to watching the Geonosis arc, and the gunships do not sound like they do in these episodes. So I mean, yeah, it was just gripping to see, and I love that it was a similar feeling that we got to Bad Batch when they're looking for Omega, when they landed on Pabu, when the Empire shows up in Andor. So yeah, I mean, just very well job done. I was scared of the Empire here, and I was scared of the Inquisitors, or of the Inquisitor Marek. So yeah, great job. I like that. Rebels is a very totally different show. but they were still able to show some things of the Empire that I'm like, damn, they are just this brutal force. And yeah, it's great that they continue to show all that, and it's not just like, oh yeah, it's these stormtroopers that we can topple with rocks and teddy bears in a forest. Well, that's all fun and delightful. These are the things that happen in cities and planets when the Empire takes over. So yeah, very great to see. And I love that we got the even the police force, like the Empire coming in. Even two droids were arguing at the stadium of like who was on desk duty and who was in charge. Like, oh no, this whole Empire thing has thrown my schedule out of whack. No, I'm supposed to be here. My position got moved, my shit. And I'm just like, you get to see from all angles of the way the Empire has been impacting have been Janix, to where even droids are arguing about who's doing what or something. So that I really like that scene where Riley was trying to get their attention and they're just arguing back and forth. So yeah, gripping.
No, for sure. And another big part of this episode is sort of meeting Lawson's ex-wife, Riley's mum.
Mm-hmm.
This is a storyline that I'm very interested in. How did this relationship sort of break down? Was it over sort of political differences? She's in more favor of the Empire. Obviously, Lawson isn't. I'm interested to sort of find out more about that. But it's also the journey that it's sort of putting Riley on, where he's now sort of having to make up his mind. His mum's telling him just comply with law and order, and they're gonna look after you. And then obviously he's got a very different message from his dad. So, what did you sort of make of this whole Lawson's family dynamic going on here?
Yeah, I love that we finally get to see the mom. That was great. And when she said I'm working on Coruscant, I'm like, what jobs are there in Coruscant? Immediately a thought of Andor, of Cyril Karn, and in that little like cubicle that he has. And she had like kind of a similar uniform, so I was like, well, maybe she's one of those people. Yeah, no, I love that her being with the Empire complicates Riley's kind of vision a little bit, and it obviously complicates the story, where it's like, yeah, she's totally being like, yeah, respect the law, follow the order, do exactly what they tell you and you'll be fine. And it's like, right, that's always gone swell. So I love Riley just being like, mom, you gotta come here, you gotta come here, like the Empire's here and dad's in trouble. And it's so I love the complication of all this. She's in the Empire, it seems, and she's not like on some random Imperial planet. She's at the capital. She's on Coruscant. So who knows what her level or position is within the Empire. But I mean, yikes! I mean, she's right under the Emperor's nose.
Why does she feel this way? Like, what has she grown up with? Around the propaganda? Does she just truly believe that the Empire is good for the galaxy? Like, right. I'd be curious to see how she actually got into that position.
Or she's one of those poor souls that believed everything in the Republic, and she just was like, well, I'm ready for the Republic to be reborn, and I'm gonna give this Empire a chance. And then she falls into trying to make it a better galaxy that way. Which, by the way, you get perspectives like that in Reign of the Empire, a book that came out last year with like it takes place right after Revenge of the Sith with Maul Mothma, Saw Gerrera. It's a really great book. Bail Organa. Oh yeah. I already just got a copy of it today. No, just for the record, he was wearing it first, and I was like, yeah, I'll wear Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, and I thought the mom was gonna show up in the episode, but it was when Riley was, not to jump ahead, but when Riley was covering, and he's like, Dad, like, you need to take a look, and he's like covering. I'm like, oh, the mom showed up, she came, and it was Uki Dookie Daki and Devin. But
I also thought when Lawson in the next episode was like, I know someone that can help, but she's not going to be happy about it, I was like, is this going to be the ex-wife? But turned out to be that the other girl from earlier. But yeah, that's sort of, I guess, the main things that happen in this episode. Maul again doesn't do a whole lot. It's just kind of spybot going around spying on the impies, as he calls it, and his brothers are repairing his legs, which again, just a little scene where I'm like, it's cool to just see Maul like interacting with like people in a normal way without screaming about revenge or whatever it is.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I want your quick thoughts on this. What you think of the Mandalorians kind of meeting in secret and showing this opposition into what was becoming? Again, I love that the episode showed you all aspects of the Empire having impact. I mean, even two droids were arguing about who was supposed to do what, and then I love that it even complicates Maul's group. See, I feel like we don't get this often in Star Wars. I feel like sometimes we get this in more of a HBO Max show or even a Netflix show. But this feels like really thought out writing, where it's not just like, oh yeah, we'll cover Maul's POV, just him and his team through his eyes, and it's like, no, we get down to the nitty gritty here. So we have two Mandalorians kind of talking it up, and Rook senses that something's wrong, and she's like, what's the issue? And they're like, well, one of them was okay. Like, yeah, the Empire's here, but I don't care as long as we're still making money. And the other guy's like, yeah, well, that's the problem. The Empire's here and we're not going to be making money. So what did you think of that, if anything?
I mean, it was interesting because, the Mandalorians that are still with Maul are the ones that chose to follow him after he killed Pre Vizsla in season 5 of the Clone Wars. So it's sort of like you already kind of know what sort of character that these kind of people have, because you could argue that they are just following wherever the power is and kind of looking out for themselves and only themselves. And it goes to show in this episode. And by the time we see Maul next in the timeline in Rebels, the Mandalorians have nothing to do with him anymore. So at some stage, they're going to just get fed up with him, you would think. But yeah, I think it just kind of shows like that these are just sort of like the Mandalorians that maybe they say, oh yeah, we're Mandalorians. We want, we care about our ideals and protection and but at the end of the day, all they care about is, getting credits and looking after themselves. Like that's what, and that kind of goes to show that's maybe what Old Death Watch really was about at the end of the day. Maybe there were some good people in there. Bo-Katan, you could argue, although, there's an episode where they just like kill everyone in the village. So it's hard to say they're good people, but potentially had the right intentions. But it goes to show that a lot of people in Death Watch, their intentions weren't even what they were saying it was. They just wanted more money, more power, more control for themselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. And it's funny because I thought all these guys were gonna kind of play background characters, and I mean they have, but even just seeing when Rookcast walked in to meet with Maul, and Maul got angry and he kicked the box that he had his foot on or his leg on, and he's like, yes, Rook, what is it now? Yeah. I feel like that's how we all feel with Rook sometimes. It's like, Rook, not right now, bro. Like, you're asking too many questions. But I love when Rook went in there and then the brothers were repairing his legs or fixing him up. The other one was like, brother, like, let's get out of here. So even just hearing them have dialogue is great too. But yeah, like you said about the Mandalorians, I mean, I love that even it complicates a little bit of the relationship. And, is this setting up for a possible betrayal of one of them, or just this is where the Mandalorians exit? And I mean, there's only 3 Mandos with Maul when he commanded a whole little squad of an army. And now it's just like we're down to the last 3, which is crazy. So, yeah insane. So I'm curious to see how that's going to evolve throughout the next episodes.
Also, just some other random shout outs before we move on to the next one. But it was cool to see my little crime boss guy is still going to live on. I want to see more of him at some stage. But yeah, that's mostly the episode. Of course, we see Darky and Devon. They're sort of just on the run, and it just begins the chase that goes on to the next episode, which let's start talking about it. Night of the Hunted. This one was genuinely awesome. Like, not a lot of conversations happened. It was more just action on the run. Like, this is the sort of episode where someone like me, like I could easily get super bored at this if it feels like the stakes are low, whatever it is. But the stakes felt high. I was super invested in the characters, super interested in what was going on. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. We obviously started off with Maul doing his little lightsaber routine. Then we had came and interrupted him as always. And then sort of thought we had this one peaceful moment where Devin and Darky are in, Lawson's sort of apartment or whatever. And they're sort of chatting, and clearly Lawson wants to help them out, but he's also like, you've got to get out of here. You're just going to cause trouble for me, and I need to look out for my kid at the end of the day. And then bang, Inquisitor comes in, knocks the door, and the chase begins. So yeah, Mike, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I didn't know Merrick was gonna find them so quickly. But I love the idea of them going and hiding. Because Daki is all about, the Empire is coming after us now that they know that we're Jedi. So we gotta lay low until we can come back to Janix, but we gotta lay low until the Empire comes, sweeps up Maul, and then we can probably come back. So I love that they end up going to Lawson, because again, it feels like they have that kind of almost established relationship. But there is a line in the previous episode in Inquisition where I think it was Kleiss that said, "Oh, they like thank the Force," or something like that. She was like, "Oh, thank goodness that we're not involved with the Jedi, or we're like hiding a Jedi or something, because that will complicate."
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then it kind of ties back here where the Jedi are hiding in Lawson's apartment, and he's like, "Oh, she just mentioned about this." So I love that kind of full circle moment.
Jedi, just
right?
Always,
I know, seriously. I mean, yeah. And then they were asking him for smuggling routes that he knew of, or information he could share of, like, or thieves' dens that they can go hide at.
I just want to say something here, because I'm interested to get your thoughts. So when Darky said that, it immediately made me think of episode 1, I'm pretty sure, where, he wasn't even prepared to, steal a piece of fruit or whatever, but he's willing to use like smuggling lanes and criminal, ship routes or whatever, to get out of the planet. Does that sort of contradict like the ideology that was originally presented from Darky, or is that fair enough that he's saying, yeah, we want to be smuggled out of of Janix? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I feel like since the beginning, he's just kind of been in survival mode, but in a way, in his definition of surviving. And so I feel like it's surviving, but with a strict code. Like, we do not steal, we do not do this, we do not do that. And I feel like just because they're using like a smuggling route, I feel like as long as they're not doing the smuggling, they're okay. I feel like maybe it's just, and I mean, obviously with the Empire now involved hunting them, like, it complicates things now, because it's like, don't use your lightsaber, don't do this. Like, even when he tells Devin to stand down in front of the police, like, surrender to them. So before it complicates things. And now when the Empire shows up, it changes that, because instead of just running away, he's putting up a battle with his lightsaber and everything. So I feel like almost, I mean, I wouldn't say this like, I wouldn't put this out there like so confidently, but I feel like some of his morals right now are being challenged with being hunted by the Empire, and also having just fought Maul, where he even told Devin, like, "I'm sorry, like, I failed you." And she didn't even say like, "Oh no, it's okay," or "No, you didn't, you did your best," or she was silent. And that, I think that was like in episode 4 last week. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like now desperate times call for desperate measures almost.
No, I thought that was just an interesting one. But yeah, so sort of as Marek comes, the chase sort of commences. Devin gets in the ship and has a funny little exchange with Lawson, and then this sort of all leads up to them getting into like sort of the what do you guys call it? The casino.
What do you call it?
A casino. I was going to say pokies. Do you know what pokies are? Or is that, I don't know if that's an Australian shortening of something like the slot machines.
Oh, we just call them slots.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So the casino. I was like, is he going to play some slots here, or what's the go? But wasn't he chose not to. What did you make of the initial chase scene?
Starting back with the casino.
When the Inquisitor comes into the apartment and they sort of are on the roof, then Devin has the flagship, and,
right. I thought, well, first of all, again, I don't know how Merrick found them so quickly, but I guess he did. But
Well,
I
I think
Lawson,
Merrick had a great inkling that Lawson was lying,
right,
so
right,
did his hunting and was like, let him free, and then eventually I'll just go to his apartment and the Jedi will be there or something like that.
right, because Lawson had a line of like, I'm pretty sure he didn't believe me fully or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, the fight, I mean, again, like you said, the action is some of the best in Star Wars. I mean, the fighting with Devin in the first, no, wait, who fought first? Was it, no, he stood behind Master Uki Duki Daki. Um Master Daki stood behind, fought him, and then Devin was leading the charge out. You said what?
I was gonna say it's Eco Dio Darky. Come
No,
on,
it's
mate, you gotta
Uki
get
Duki
this right.
Daki. Um, but I mean, and here I was like, yep, Master Doc is gonna die. By the way, like I'm like, this is where he meets his end. Like this is where they get separated. Like it's locked in, and then they just kept prolonging it, and I was like, oh, it's on the roof right now. Like when Devin was on the gunship, and so were the others, but the only one who wasn't on there was Ukiduki, and I was like, yep, this is where he dies. Like this is the end. Like then Merrick's gonna kill him, and then they're gonna fly away. And nope, he made it on the transport, and I was like, oh, like please just get this over with before I really fall in love with the character.
Yeah, I'm
That's
I'm
like,
already in love, so it's too late.
yeah, I'm like
It's
just,
gonna be
but
shattering when it happens.
yeah, it will be. But is this supposed to be the same species as Master the one dinosaur looking guy in that's killed by Jango Fett
I
during the
don't know.
Generations?
I originally thought he was meant to be a Trandoshan, but let's pull up
Well, he looks
old Wikipedia
yeah.
page. Species is Mosik. Mosik.
Yeah, that sounds. I think that's the same species as
Um,
the Trebes.
no, well, this actually says on at least on Wikipedia that
It's a new
this
species.
it's a new species. Yeah, because the only appearances are Mole Shadow Lord. So
Well, maybe
yeah,
it's a
it's a
cousin
new species.
species of
Designation sentient. Classification reptilian. I just thought he was a Trandoshan.
Well, he looks Trandoshan with the hood, but when he takes the hood off,
Yeah, and he's
you
got
can
the
tell. Yeah,
spiky
so I thought it
thing.
was supposed to be kind of like, you know what, whatever, it's fine. I just
Cool species though.
no, for sure, for
Well,
sure.
apparently he's been alive for a long time.
Oh yeah, I like that line that he said
Yeah,
of like, um, I've lived for many years and I've seen the rise and fall of tyrannies.
tyranny. Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that I really like that line. I dig that. So that's why I was thinking. I'm like, oh, I wonder how long his species lived for. Maybe they did it a new species just for that little, so
yeah,
they can be like, yeah, we can make him however old we want him to make him.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm really liking this character. The voice actor for him, my God, so good, so crisp,
Yes,
so clear.
yes,
Like, yeah,
yes.
I love this guy. He very reminiscent of a Qui-Gon or something, of just the character overall, of just like kind of just at the center of chaos is just peace. And I just feel like
Yeah,
this guy embodies that 100%. And I feel like, oh, like Devin is there, but I feel she's very unbalanced, where I feel like she would feed into whatever is being fed to her, so by Maul. So, ooh, yikes.
yeah. The actor is Dennis Haysbert. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But anyway, shout out to him, doing an awesome job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, okay,
Apparently,
so
sorry to cut you off real
go.
quick. Apparently, this actor has been a big fan of Rebels, Clone Wars, and Bad Batch before getting
Wow,
hired. So he was excited to come on board for a Star Wars animation project.
man, shout out to him. That's awesome. Um, okay, so we've kind of got two more things to cover here. First one, I want to get this out of the way because this character is doing my head in. Flip the switch and turn him off. Bloody Two Boots is
Oh
getting
wow!
under my skin. It's just like I don't know. I understand, like, we
Two
love our
boots is two
droids in Star
boots.
Wars, but at this point, surely Lawson's like, you know what? This droid has just caused this fascist, imperialistic army to just come and lock down our entire city and planet. I think it's time to turn this droid off. And while he's going like, I think this plan is going awfully great. This is going so well. I just wanted someone to just come and turn that bloody droid off, honestly.
Well,
And
I
then
love
at the end, the Imperial, I think Blake was his name, was like, why aren't your boots up to regulation? And he's like, oh, no, not my boots. It's like, okay, so when your friend gets interrogated and, they lock down your city, you're like, this is a great decision. But when the Imperial Blake says, take your boots off, you're like, what the hell? This guy just told me to take my boots off. It's like, that's where you draw the line? Are you serious? Man, this guy's doing my head in.
Two Boots. Don't you see what's going on with the Empire?
No, I think this is going great.
By the way, do you want to drink a cup of calf with me here on the side? Two Boots.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Two Boots. Two Boots this episode annoyed me, or the last two, because when Riley comes in and he's like, what are you doing here? Like, Lawson is being interrogated right now. And then, poor Riley's like, what? My dad's being interrogated for what? It's like, you shouldn't be here. And you need to leave. And then, the regulation with the boots. And it's like, oh, that's what you have a problem with. But that scene where Lawson, which I think this one's an Inquisition, where Lawson's just kind of observing all the overstimulating noise from all the stormtroopers, which by the way, Bad Batch, you are now like in my heart. I was seeing these stormtroopers and just being like, wow, the story of these guys and it feels like we hung out with these stormtroopers all for like all 4 years or 3 years. Yeah. And so I was thinking about Bad Batch today, or when I was watching the episodes, I was like, oh, like I was thinking about some key moments with them and key episodes and everything. So yeah, anyways, the scene where Lawson hears like a ringing in his ears, almost like he has, what's the term, like tinnitus, when you hear ringing in your ears. He's hearing it, and then
everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Please don't mistake me for something else.
Yeah.
but then Two Boots comes up,
it's like
and
Maul,
he's
like Sisyphus pushing up the boulder of the
that guy. Yeah. Two Boots comes up and is like, oh, like if you're upset because you deactivated me, like, oh, it's forgiven. And it's just like, oh my God. And I love that Lawson like set him straight and was like, do you not see what's going on? Like, the Empire is here and now they're ready to take over. Do you know what it's gonna be?
Like, do you think they're gonna leave?
Right. Do you think they're gonna leave? Do you think they're simply just gonna leave? I love, you know what? And then StarWars.com published this article that was like, your new favorite duo, or the duo we love, or something. I don't know what the article was called, but it was, of course, Two Boots and Lawson. And I was like, no, not right now. Ari, do you think that Two Boots is going to end up changing his stance on the Empire?
I mean, yeah, like I said before, his friend getting interrogated wasn't enough, but as soon as they question his boots, apparently that's the line where he's like, okay, you're not cool anymore. So I think he's going to end up having some regret, but I don't know. That one's doing my absolute head in. But let's get to sort of the ending of this episode. So obviously they go to the pokies, the casino, the slots, whatever you want to call it, and they get help from Lawson's old friend, who there's like potentially some romantic tension between the two of them that we don't know about. Riley doesn't seem too sure about it all. Lawson says that they're both only alive because of each other. So clearly they've been through it. And then it leads to the ultimate part of this episode, which is Devon protecting Riley, fighting Marek. This, honestly, again, the action, the lightsaber fights in this show are so cool. Like, I know it's just like the most bare bones analysis to just say it's so cool, but it's just the only way I can describe it because it's just so true. The fights are awesome in this show.
Yeah.
And then when Maul came in here, and you do the line, where is Maul?
Where is Maul? Oh, you said.
No, I did the line. Yeah. Let's redo that. Ready? And where is Maul?
I'm right here.
That shit. So cool. So awesome. He jumps in, and then like I said at the start of this episode, I was genuinely cheering for Maul because I was like, yeah, get him. This is so. it was just awesome. And like, I sound like a little kid right now analyzing it, but that's how it made me feel, which is just the best feeling ever. So yeah, what did you make of this whole end sequence?
I'm not one of these people. Trust me, I'm not. I'm really not. But the lightsaber, the way I was, well, I was seeing it this way. Merrick was holding his lightsaber like single handedly. So was Maul. But then when he was going up against the two of them, then he was still fighting single handedly. But then once he realized that he wasn't going to be able to like get through Maul, then he ignited, because I think there was a scene where like a moment where he almost like stabbed Maul with the lightsaber, and like Maul dodged it, and so he ignited the other blade. And I think this had to be Maul's first time seeing a double bladed lightsaber with an Inquisitor. And then when the Inquisitor starts like spinning it, I'm sure Maul was like pissed AF, because they just showed us at the beginning of the episode like Maul doing all these cool little techniques and stances, and then he can totally flip the lightsaber by himself. But the whole reason with the hilt, with the Inquisitor lightsaber that spins, that rotates, is because these people don't have any skill like that. They don't have the Darth, and it was inspired. These lightsabers were inspired by Maul's like martial arts style of fighting. Like, go back to the interviews with Dave Filoni and Rebels. They specifically looked at Maul, and what Ray Park brought to the character. Not Instagram, by the way, but what Ray Park brought to the character with the lightsaber and everything. So it took Ari a second there. I'm sorry. But you can totally say in verse that in canon and in universe that Palpatine was probably like, wow, like one thing about Maul is I love the way he fought. Like he was just a beast. Let's replicate that, and let's design the lightsabers like this, so that way these people that lack any type of fighting skill can be made up, can be bridged by those lightsabers. So when he did that, I was just like, man, Maul must have been standing there, be like, they just ripped me off. That was my trick. That was my like little cool thing in Phantom Menace, and they just totally completely ripped me off. So that's the way I see it, and I'm like, dude, that's so cool. So then Maul also did some cool stuff with his lightsaber. But yeah, I was totally rooting for Maul there. And then when
it was like watching sport, genuinely, I was like up and about, like it was awesome. Dude, and I love that like it hasn't, none of the characters have died yet, because it's, if any of them do, it's gonna seriously mean something. Like every single character is being developed, being built, so that we understand them before anything like that's happened. So when it does happen, it's not like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, in Rebels, which I absolutely love, so I'm not ragging on it, but like, again, and that was made very differently to this show. But the fifth brother, for example, he was cool and had his moments and stuff like that. But when he died, it was a bit like, okay, we didn't really know a whole lot about him, and didn't feel like, and that's just one example. But I feel like this show, any character that is going to die or whatever, we're going to really feel it, because we've been with them on this journey. We understand them as an actual character, because the development has just been awesome.
Yeah, I even felt something when Klyce, when they said Klyce was removed permanently. I was like, oh yeah. So 100%. But yeah, the fight scenes, especially on the train, the whole background with the train lights and just moving the train moving at a fast speed, and the way the lights looked, I'm like, my God, this is so great. This is beautiful. And just the aesthetic of the lightsabers, the fighting, and when Devin finally took on the fight herself, I was like, yeah. And then just powerful moments, like just so cool. And I love that they're paying so much attention to the lightsaber detail. Again, I'm not that guy. The lightsaber I have in the background here was a gift. And then the other lightsaber I have is a dark saber, and that was sent to me by Hasbro. I don't go out of my way to buy lightsabers. I mean, I do, because I want to, but it's just like I don't have the money for that. But after watching this show, I'm like, dude, I need to get me a nice lightsaber that I could just like flip around every once in a while and just like practice. Whatever Maul was doing at the beginning is what I'm gonna be doing all summer. So yeah.
Yeah. And then that pretty much leads us to the final moment of the show. Marek gets down on one knee and says, "My lord, blah, 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 blah." This could be a number of people. It really could only be one of three people: Grand Inquisitor, Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine. I think the logical guess and the most likely outcome is that it's Darth Vader. It
Wow.
feels like the natural evolution of the show to sort of lead to that point. I feel like I'm not someone that's like, yeah, put Darth Vader in this. Yeah. It's more just for the fact that it is relevant to the story of Maul, and that could, Vader is what Maul wishes he was, pretty much. That's what Maul thinks that was his destiny. So, what Vader has. So, I think it would be relevant to the story to bring him in, and I just think it's the most likely. What are your thoughts?
I think it's the Grand Inquisitor. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've seen people point that out that they think it's the Grand Inquisitor, but first of all, on StarWars.com, they say that in earlier drafts it was the Grand Inquisitor, but they quickly scrapped that after I think the second draft. But also, if you just look at the body language and what lines are said, the Inquisitors don't call the Grand Inquisitor "my lord." It usually goes to Vader or Palpatine, and they also don't kneel in front of the Grand Inquisitor. Just my two sons. So definitely not the Grand Inquisitor. But I do think we'll see the Grand Inquisitor eventually. But I think that was Palpatine. I know the Inquisitors report to Vader, but I don't know. I almost don't want it to be Vader. I do want Vader to come in, but not now. I feel like Vader has nothing to do with Maul. Yeah. I feel like Vader has nothing to do with Maul. I feel like.
So you disagree with what I just said?
Yeah. I feel like Palpatine, because here's the thing. We know that they were going to fight in Twilight of the Apprentice, but it got cut down or it got cut out, scrapped, because there's just too much going on. And Filoni and crew said that if Vader and Maul were to fight, it would be Maul's last fight. And we know Maul lives. So I feel...
Couldn't that be an explanation for why Maul is so terrified of Vader?
Well, yeah, because he is terrified of him, it seems like, in Twilight of the Apprentice. But I feel like it's... I don't... They got to come up with something as to why Vader needs to be hunting Maul directly. I feel like right now it's a Palpatine thing, because even in the trailers, which I'm looking forward to when it comes on, but I think it's Merrick that says, "The Emperor wants you dead." And it's like, I feel like this is the Emperor's like, damn, I didn't finish the job. I need Maul dead. That is my ex-apprentice. This is the ex-girlfriend that I cannot still shake off. Like she's still calling my number, visiting my house. Like Maul is causing trouble here. And I feel like maybe Vader is sent out. I mean, obviously he is sent out by Palpatine, but I feel like I would love to see Palpatine get involved, almost like he did when he took Maul out in season 5 of Clone Wars when he captured him. So again, I think it's inevitable that we'll see Vader for sure, but I just feel like, to me, I'm just gonna be like, which again, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on this concept, but I just feel like I would be more like, whoa, if it's Palpatine again, if it's Palpatine versus Maul. But I feel then that takes away Maul from the top of his little criminal empire that he's running. But yeah, I mean, the probable answer here is that the Inquisitor is talking to Vader, but I would so love if it's Palpatine, and Palpatine is voiced again by once again by the great Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer's going to be having some dark conversations with himself then.
No, truly, but I feel that it's Palpatine, but it's probably Vader. But I would hope that they go for the Palpatine route, because there's unfinished business. That's Palpatine technically is Maul's dad. That's his father. Like there's emotional connection between Maul and Palpatine. There's no emotional connection really with Vader, besides the point that, oh, that's who I should have been. Which, yeah, I definitely want to explore that side too. But I'm dying for that rematch between Palpatine and Maul, but that's not going to look nice for Maul. So, anyways, that's just
okay. All right. Well, we will see. Before we wrap up for today, there is one more thing that we do not want to forget about. That is, of course, Volume 3 of Shadow Facts with your boy Parks Harmon Artur. Here it is.
Exchange. Hello, Mike and Ari. Welcome back to your weekly behind-the-scenes segment exclusive to the Star Wars Exchange podcast, Maul Shadow Facts. Now, let me show you the meaning of haste. Last week, we talked about Maul in the Clone Wars and how he came back into all of our lives through that show. Naturally, this week, we're talking about Maul and Rebels. However, we're going to do something a little different this week for Maul Shadow Facts. It is not lost on me, was not lost on me as I sat down today to record this, that I am making this for two of the biggest Rebels fans that I know personally, Mike and Ari. And so I would be a fool to think that I could find anything about Rebels that they don't already know themselves, even if it's just about Maul. And so instead of doing my own research today and finding some cool shadow facts hidden in the shadows that you might not be aware of, I just went to Mike and Ari's pages on Instagram and found some facts that I thought were interesting and that I didn't know about. So let's start with Mike's page at All Star Wars, of course. And you could read so many more facts about Star Wars Rebels specifically over on Mike's page, where he did 2 years of like behind the scenes coverage on the show. Really, really cool. In Twilight of the Apprentice, the season 2 finale of Rebels, in an early version of the episode, Maul was killed by Vader. The duel was cut because Dave Filoni thought there was no emotional material between the two and wanted to spare Maul's life, which I think we can all agree was a good decision in the long run because it led to a much more satisfying death at the hands of Ben Kenobi in the next season. Speaking of that episode, Twin Sons, of course, Dave Filoni played with the idea of Maul seeing an apparition of Savage and Satine at the start of Twin Sons. However, he didn't want to confuse newer fans. That would have been really cool and like really fitting full circle for Maul's character, but of course, newer fans are important. And now that I'm reading this, I recall in a celebration panel or Comic-Con panel or something years ago, Filoni admitting that there was like a 37-minute previs cut of the episode or something at some point, and I imagine that's where this would have come in. And so that'd be cool to see one day, even though it'll never probably happen. But yeah. And then speaking of full circles, in that same episode, Maul attempted to use the same move he used to strike down Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in Twin Sons. If you look closely, the choreography is the same. It's the same thing that killed Qui-Gon, except Obi-Wan, you imagine, has spent years learning how to counter that kind of move. Maul, on the other hand, no matter how many years he's meddled with Jedi and Sith and, you know, done this, done that, pushed the boulder up the hill like Sisyphus has, ultimately he has never really truly learned or grown up or done it, moved on in any meaningful way in his life. And then the last shadow fact I have here, which is, I'm going to say, not a shadow fact as much as it is a shadow rumor, a rumor that came true. Ari, you posted this on your page, Star Wars Exchange, back in November 2021, which was almost 5 years ago. There's a rumor that an animated series focusing on Maul running Crimson Dawn set before Solo is reportedly in development. And your source was Cinelinx. Very interesting. I wonder if the show was in development for that long. And if so, that's cool. All right, y'all. That's it. Back to you guys.
Wow. Another volume of Maul Shadow Facts. That was awesome. And hey, man, Sisyphus, that is just such a great metaphor for Maul's life. We love that. Thanks for shouting that out, Parks. But hey, that's awesome. And also, that goes to show how much work. I was like, I couldn't believe all of those facts, you know, bang. That was the 2-3 years of coverage you did on Rebels on your page. Unbelievable. And Parks, thank you for that. We absolutely love it.
Thank you.
So, yeah. But you know, you post facts, that's cool. I predict the future. So that's also
well, you know what? What's so funny is we both didn't watch this video before Ari played the transmission because it's fresh off the press. And Parks just backed me up in one of my own facts about Maul and Vader not having any emotional connection. And I said that, and I didn't even watch what Parks has said. So thank you, Parks, for backing me up there. I agree. So that me and Filoni, Mr. Filoni, we on the same wavelength here. Everybody wants Maul and Vader. You know what? There's no emotional connection right now between them. So I'm gonna say that.
Maybe so. We will see.
And the Savage fact, that's awesome. And fans, Eagle-eyed fans, right? We have those. They pointed out that in the Maul scene where he's getting his legs repaired, you can actually see that amulet on the ground next to him or something, or on some bench or toolbox or something that Savage carried with him to find his brother. Yeah, from that Clone Wars episode. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Ari needs to rewatch Clone Wars because he has no idea what I'm talking about.
No, yes, absolutely. We love all that. Parks, Shadow Facts, we absolutely love it.
We
Cannot
love
wait
you.
for Volume 4. I'll tell you, question though. So I was supposedly posted that in 2021, which by the way, Parks, shout out to you. You must have gone through a lot of Instagram posts to find that one. Do you think the show would have genuinely been in development in 2021?
Absolutely. I feel, and you know what? It could have just been in pre-development, pre-production. It could just been an idea on a bulletin board or something where I genuinely feel they were like, let's bring back the Clone Wars for one last season, but let's sprout it. Let's
Yeah.
plan out. Let's build a path and pave the way
Like,
for
we'll continue the clones in the Bad
Right.
Batch. We'll continue Maul in this, and yeah.
right. And I'm still waiting for the day that they announce an Ahsoka and Rex like 2-season show of what happened. I mean, we got a little taste of it in Tales of the Jedi, but just what the heck happened afterwards? You know, I'm still waiting for that.
I was gonna say I'm waiting for them to announce a Ventress show. I think
Yes,
that'll
that
be
too.
awesome. And I think that's
yeah.
probably what they're saving Quinlan for, because obviously you would think
Yes.
that's
100%.
where those two would go.
100%.
But yeah, no, I think the show probably would have been in development for a long time. Like you look at something like, I don't know, what some of the new movies that they're gonna do will have been in production for a long, long time. But no, curious to see. Again, thank you to Parks for that. And that just about wraps us up for today. It's been a nice long episode. There was obviously a lot to talk about. We loved those 2 episodes. 2 more weeks of Maul Shadow Lord to go. It's been just an absolute blast so far. I'll tell you what, I actually haven't had the chance to rewatch any of the episodes yet. I think after these episodes we've had this week, I'm going to go rewatch the first 6 because, yeah, just awesome stuff. Mike, any closing thoughts before we end up here?
Jennifer Corbett, our friend from the Bad Batch, she
Yes.
I don't know where she executive producer, the showrunner of Bad Batch. She ended up directing one of these, or wrote one of these episodes. I forgot which one it was. Sorry, but I just want to mention Jennifer Corbett. So these 2 episodes were Bad Batch infused for sure. Closing thoughts. Yeah, again, great episodes. Unlike Ari, it feels like I've been putting this show on very often. I'll just be like, let me put the last 2 episodes on, and it's just so intriguing. And it's not like I sit down and rewatch the whole thing, but I just kind of put it on in the background, and I'm like, man, I really, really love this show. And even I'm reading the comics about it and hunting them down because I just want to read more about this Janix universe. Like I'm just all in. All chips are in. We're at the casino. It's all good. But yeah, I'm having a really good time with the show. And like usually with shows, I just kind of tune in and then I'm all right. I'll watch the next episode, and I'll rewatch it. Bad Batch, I wouldn't rewatch the episodes. I would rewatch. I'll do a rewatch later, which I barely just did. And this show, I've already rewatched some episodes like 4 times. Like this is just such a really good show. So shout out Maul Shadow Lord. Like Ari said, 2 weeks left. We're gonna end on May 4th. So bring it on. Whether it's Vader or Palpatine, I'm just excited to see some Maul action.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll just leave it off on this. For any consistent listeners, which we obviously appreciate, we're all over the place. So, if you're still listening from back in the day, thank you. And you would also know, in the existence of this podcast, which we've been going since 2021, so it's going to be a 5-year anniversary this year, which is insane. There has not been a Star Wars movie released in that time. However, as you all know, in about 1 month's time, a Star Wars movie is coming out, Mando and Grogu. Mike and I cannot wait to cover it on the channel, on the podcast here. So once Maul Shadow Lord is over, we'll be on to Mando and Grogu and covering that. I've just got my tickets. Mike's going to get his soon. Like it's going to be crazy. Can't wait to see it. So just thought I'd put that on the radar for anyone wondering. But yeah, again, thank you for listening today. You can follow Mike on Instagram at @all_Star Wars. You can follow me at Star Wars_exchange. Please like, comment. We'd love to hear from you. We really appreciate the support. Share it with your friends. This is the best Maul Shadow Lord coverage you'll see. Just 2 good mates, just 2 best mates covering the Darth Maul show. So no, we absolutely love it. And yeah, may the Force be with you. We will talk next week.